What's going on, everyone? Hope you're having a terrific day. We're filming on the GoPro, and today's video I want to talk about why tinnitus feels hopeless, but it isn't. Now, this comes down to one thing, and that is when you are suffering with tinnitus, a bothersome tinnitus, it induces anxiety. And when you're in an anxious state, when your nervous system is on high alert, you begin to you can suffer from cognitive distortions. A cognitive distortion is something that feels true. It may appear true to you, the person suffering from the cognitive distortion, but logically it's not true. And you can't know that the distortion is possibly true. For example, you get tinnitus and you think, I'm always going to suffer, and it feels true. And in your mind, you've logically justified it because you're thinking, how could anyone live with the sound that is this bad? How could anyone be expected to live like this? How could anyone be happy with this ringing in their ears? And from your perspective, the cognitive distortion, you've justified it as appearing true. And this step right here is where people fall into depression. They fall into the black hole of despair. They fall into the hopelessness, because they've logically justified that they're never going to be happy again. And they feel that way. But I'm here to tell you that that is all a distortion. For one, if you logically sit back and analyze that whole entire thought process, it starts to fall apart really quick, because how can you possibly know the future? Well, you can't. So you can't possibly know if you're going to be suffering 2 years from now, or even a year from now, or 5 years from now. You have no idea. Hell, you don't even know what you're going to eat probably tomorrow, unless you plan everything out, right? Most people don't even know what they're going to eat a week from now, or even tonight, unless they figure it out on the fly. Most people figure it out on the fly. What I'm trying to say is that we humans are horrible at predicting the future. We've tried and tried throughout history, and we fail a lot at trying to predict the future. And so when you're trying to predict the future and you're in a cognitive distortion, you have to assume that it's probably false. And you have no way of knowing if what you're feeling is actually true. And that is how you begin to challenge the thought distortions. You begin to say, is this really true? Is this thought really true? And is it possible that it's a thought distortion that I am currently in, and what I'm experiencing might not be true? It might feel true for now, and right now, yes, I may be stuck in this place, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be true for the rest of my life. And in lies the rub. That is the secret. If you can begin to put some space between you and the thought distortions, meaning you can begin to sit back, take your emotions out of it, and logically understand that what you're experiencing is a thought distortion, then you can begin to find some hope. Because if you just allow yourself to go down the rabbit hole of negative thinking, which is what a lot of people do, and that's where I find people really, that's where people find me really, and I can begin to help them with my services, is that they've been in the doom phase for too long, for a very long time. And they've tried cures, they've changed their diets, they've done all the wrong things that have just basically focused their attention back on the tinnitus. And it never occurred to them that what they were experiencing was actually not real, that it was a thought distortion. It wasn't actually true. And that is why challenging your thoughts is so important. It's so important. You need to have a journal, and you need to be writing down, is this thought and this experience, is this true for the rest of my life? Okay, it's okay to admit, yeah, you feel bad now, you're suffering now, you're stuck in this now. That's completely fine to admit that and be real and be honest with yourself. But does that mean it's going to stay like that for the rest of your life? Or is it possible your life could get infinitely better? Is it possible you could get to a place where you never even hear it or notice the tinnitus? Is it possible you could be out traveling the world and there was a whole other life on the other side of this negative, brutal, hellish nightmare experience. Is that possible? And the answer to that question is yes, it is possible. It was my reality, and it's the reality for millions of people. So that when you have that cognitive thought distortion, you need to be replacing it with the reality that there are people out there like myself who have got on the other side of this, have learned all of the steps that I teach in the free video training, link in the description, have learned all the steps, mastered all the steps, applied them to their life, and now they're living their best life ever, a life beyond their entire wildest dreams. And if you want my story of what my life looks like now, about how I'm backpacking around the world, living in huts and living on the side of mountains and swimming in exotic beaches, hit the free video below, and all the pictures and everything in there is me after tinnitus. So if you don't think it's possible to recover from chronic, debilitating, loud tinnitus, I'm here to tell you that thought that you can't recover is probably a thought distortion. And you need to begin to take your thoughts captive, and you need to begin to replace these negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Watch videos like this over and over and over and over again so that you can begin to believe that what's possible for me and what's possible for millions of other people, the recovery is possible for you. And when you get to believe that and you get to get that in your subconscious, okay, you begin to then take steps towards recovery. Is it easy? It's not easy. Is it take a long time? Sometimes, yes. For me, it took a very long time. But, if you don't do the right things, or I should say if you continue to do the wrong things, you can then create a life where I've seen people with it for they've suffered longer than they had to suffer. And that is truly sad. That is why I want to help each and every single one of you not end up like that. So anyway, make sure to share this video. You can just go ahead and subscribe if you feel inclined to do so. Remember, you can always unsubscribe later, and check out the free video below. And until next time, I'll talk to you all later. Peace.